Would you rather if the shitty bag was tagged, would you rather run the risk of say you pulled out the shitty bag on every job on every skid, and at the end of the year you had like a 10 bag job and you had to use it on that job and hope for the best, even though the manufacturer's saying it? Or would you rather run the gauntlet that when the one bag get mixed in with the other one, people don't call you about the problem? Would you rather have one guaranteed repair or the possibility of 3 or 4 small repairs for the year? Like, what kind of gambler are you?
I've been known to put the wet sand at the bottom on multiple occasions. Oh, we got an open bag here. What do you mean an open bag? That's a brand new bag. I just cut it open. Oh, well, it's wet. We'll put it at the bottom because it's already spread now. We're not shoveling it up.
Roller pack that motherfucker.
Roller pack that shit into the bottom, into oblivion.
Mike doesn't do this kind of stuff on his hardscape channel.
I wouldn't do that personally.
You would shovel it up? What, like, if you open up a bag? No, I'm interested because if you open up a bag and it's in the condition that Chad has, and it's been spread by one of the part-time guys, and you come around the corner and you're like, oh, we can't put that in. What level do you go at to get that sand out? Now, would you
lift? It's already been spread?
Well, they swept it. Like, they dumped the bag. You didn't see it. You were adjusting the water feature in the back. And for the old dude. And so they dump a bag out. They push it with the broom. They do 3 or 4 pushes. You come around the corner and go, holy fuck, that's wet. Now, you could shovel it up, but it's still in the joint. So are you going to lift half the patio for that? Or are you going to get a vacuum and vacuum out every joint?
Yeah, I would probably take my shot back.
What level are you going to go to repair it? Because Chad's level is sweep it in the bottom.
I would take my shop vac. Try to vacuum it up a bit.
Would you go home to get your shop vac to come back and do it? Or would you just leave it?
What if there was a threatening rainstorm?
You have to go back to your storage locker, 45 minutes away, drag it out of your storage locker, and come back and vacuum that out.
Do you roll with a shop vac regularly, Mike?
It is in my trailer, so it wouldn't be far.
It is.
As long as I'm in Kitchener.
Oh. What do you do for tools when you're not in Kitchener?
I just plan for it.
Like, you put them in your truck? Or you bring the trailer?
I bring the trailer. Man, it's a threatening rainstorm and all these different things. I would probably do as Chad would say.
Ooh.
Then you get away with it, and then you do it again.
That's the tricky. That's the slippery slope.
Am I going to come back and fix it? Yeah. If it shits the bed, I'm going to come back and fix it. But for now, we're taking the chance.
Yeah.
If you caught the wet bag before it was poured, do you chuck it?
Yes.
Chad?
Yeah. Unless...
I was hesitant. Yeah.
Okay, so it's a 10-bag patio, and we brought 10 bags with us, and one's wet that we didn't know of when we got there. Well, I'm not going back to get another bag and put that shit on the bottom.
What if it's the last bag you open and it has to be on the top? It's the top lid. You've already roller packed.
Like, you can't.
You're fucked.
You're fucked.
But a threatening rainstorm is coming and it's 6 o'clock at night and the supplier's closed. What do you do? Choose your own adventure.
Pallets of sand at the yard. Because
you're in Brockville, though.
I'm in Brockville? Oh. What the fuck am I doing putting a patio in Brockville? I don't have money in Brockville. I don't know. But what's your other option? The rainstorm's coming, but the sand's already wet?
Well, you've put out 9 bags.
Yeah.
You pre-compacted, you put in 9 bags, you've compacted 6 to 8 times. You're doing your final 10th to 12th compaction, and then your joints are slightly below the chamfer, and you need to top them all up before you water it. Now, there's a possibility your joints being 2 millimeters under the chamfer, you might get away with it. Say they're 2, 3, or do you bring them up right to the top with the sand that you know has already been activated in the bag?
No, I'm going to sweep them in all low. and then I'm going to tell the client this is the preferred method to do it because people have been having an issue whenever they leave sand high in the chamfer. And oh yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, okay, great. And you sold it on them. That's it. You just talk them through it. Bullshit your
There's
way through.
a lot of really bad choices in that whole scenario.
PK,
Yeah.
you never
When your
answered
back
these
is against the
questions yet.
wall.
What?
What do? You haven't answered these questions yet.
What's the scenario?
The first scenario, the scenario you gave me. Do you shop vac it? Do you? I can't remember all the options.
Well, the options were really like lift all the pavers and then relay them,
Yes.
or shop vac it out. I don't know what the other. You could pick it out with a screwdriver and shovel it, I guess. If that happened to me, I would definitely shovel up the loose sand that wasn't already in a joint,
Yeah.
and then if I had a shop vac handy, I guess I would do it, or I would take Chad's nail system and spread it out a bit in all the joints in the area. If it was, the last day and it's about to rain and we need to get it done, then that's probably what I would do. Or, if it was a desperate situation, I'm pretty good for my word at repairing stuff, so maybe I would sweep it in and go for the bet and just go for it. I think I could see myself leaning towards that in a moment of frustration.
Especially if a storm's coming.
Storm's coming in, patio's completed, storm's coming in. I could see myself rolling the Chad way.
Yeah.
Rolling the chat.
Not the villain you're all making me out to be.
I'm not the villain you're all making me out to be.
This is the Chad episode. Rolling the Chad way. I like that.
Oh,
I can tell you that we have ran out of sand before, or when you reach that moment and you're like, I know I don't have enough sand.
Yeah.
What do? I'm sweeping, and I know I'm a bag and a half, 2 bags short, just from the look of things, just from looking at it. You're just saying, I am fucking short. I know for a fact I've gone into the tool trailer and got a wheelbarrow and got a bag of beige and a bag of gray and mixed those fuckers together because that's all I had available.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you ever done the mix? A big mix to get through the job?
Yeah.
I've done beige on multiple occasions.
I've done I remember when they first came out with gray sand, I was like, why do they need this? This is going to complicate life. Before, I could leave a half bag of beige in the back of my truck and I knew I was good. Now
I install gray on everything.
On everything?
What if someone wants beige?
Unless it's a brown paver or beige, but I'm always installing gray anyways, so I use gray on everything.
What about a chestnut brown patio?
I haven't installed the chestnut brown patio since 2019.
I sold 40 pallets this year.
Are you serious? Wow.
Yeah, we're behind. Like, our style back here is...
No, people say that browns are coming back in. That was the thing at the beginning of this year.
Permacon would never make a brown for like 10 years.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, it's not in style, it's not in style. Okay, I'll use someone else's paper then.
Do you think that you like that color, so you suggest it?
I don't like any colors. All of these papers make me sick to look at.
Oof.
But like, I've installed them all so much. There's not one that I use frequently that I'd say I am gonna put that at my house anymore. That's why I want to do porcelain, because I'm not sick of it the way I'm sick of interlock.
But you didn't have to install it though.
I don't know. The only one that I really do not mind is the hammer finish of Lexa. Like that pulverized top look. Granitex, whatever you call it.
I just got sent a bunch of porcelain samples in a nice little box that I'm going to use to try to sell some porcelain jobs.
Nice.
I have no use for porcelain. If I never did another porcelain job, I'd be super fucking happy. It's a pain in the ass.
Did you start your complex one?
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Going on for 2 weeks.
Ah.
The Bill who's working on that job pointed out yesterday, we were in the yard, and he said, "No, I don't understand about this job." I said, "What?" He said, "It's all in this like insanely complex patterns with multiple sizes and all this different stuff going on." I said, "Yeah." He said, "But it's all just the same color. So you can barely see it. Like you can barely see any change." The other thing I was thinking about with this too, for all this insanity of these complex stuff, no one is going to see it when it's all covered in tables and patios. Why not just fill it up with 2x2s? Just do straight 2x2s, and because if you're going to do it all in the same color, what difference does it make?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's true.
That's
I want to see it when it's
you don't
done.
want to destroy the man's
I posted a bunch of pictures of it.
Chad, what?
You don't want
Destroyed
to
it.
destroy the architect's vision.
You destroyed a man's vision here today. I posted pictures of it, Mike.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it's on my Instagram. Yeah, I posted some pictures of it. It does. I mean, it looks cool. It does look cool, and the guys are doing a fantastic job. Jordan from DPR, and Jose and Billy and Lucas was out there too. So it's definitely it's going pretty good. I think it's going good. It looks.
Oh,
It does.
it's
It does
huge.
look. It does. Yeah, it's like 4,400 square feet. When was the last time I half-assed something, Mike?
I
to
see.
take on
So it's
if the Favorite King crew is going to take on some weird product that no one's ever used that fucking cuts like a bag of shit, we're going to fucking do it for 4,000 square feet in an ultra complex pattern. That's the only way we fucking roll.
it seems every time you got lots of cuts or a complex pattern, you call up DPR.
I do. I do. It's because those guys, Derek and Jordan and their crew are great. They do fantastic work. I'm always proud to have them on our crew with us. They all do a great job and they're passionate. So there was a sign somewhere that said, if you don't believe you're the best, then you're morally obligated to recommend the best. Right? So our saying at Lake Ridge, it said Ridge Lake, it said, if you're not the best, you're morally obligated to refer the best. And then underneath it said, we refer no one.
Ooh.
So that's but that is true. If you don't believe that you're the best at it, then you're morally obligated to refer the best. So I would say that those guys are, so them and Matt from Apex are some of the best cut game guys in there are. So if we have a complex job with a lot of cutting, then those guys get the call, because I don't think that, and I don't think any of our staff would be disappointed to hear me say that I don't think that we're the absolute best at insanely complex cutting. I think we can do an admirable job. I think we do a serviceable job, but I'm morally obligated to bring the best to your job if I'm going to do it. So that's what I do. I bring the best. It's my moral obligation.
I do like the look of that porcelain.
Can you see how many patterns and shit are in it?
Yeah.
It's all just fucking white. Like, Bill made a great. I was like, really, Bill? That is a really good point. What are we doing here? Why are we doing this? Like 4x2s mixed with 1x2s mixed with 1x1s. If you go up by the building, there is actually some color change. These people have been intense about getting this done because it's a golf club and it's the middle of the fucking summer, and I'm sure they want the patio open. Mm-hmm. So but today, someone sent me pictures of the golf club, and it is insanely flooded. Like the course is flooded up to the greens, everything's flooded because it's in a lowland where the actual course is. So after someone sent me those pictures, I felt I think the pressure might be off for us. I think there's bigger problems at the golf course now, considering the river has now washed into the golf course and is washing away the flags off the fucking wall. I feel like there's bigger problems afoot at the golf course than the patio not being completed. I think that's so really the storm might have like helped us a little bit. I don't know. It is a complex job, but I think that because all of that too, Mike, when you look at it, it's all like on a 1% grade.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Or less than 1%, some of it. So it is a, and it all has spacers in it and they all have to be flipped upside down and they have to do the same.
Yeah, I always thought the spacers went underneath, but you guys have both installed them on the top.
So the reason so those spacers work great on a foam based product.
Yeah.
But if you try to put them when you're laying the tiles in HPB, you're fucking up the HPB trying to get them under the tiles.
Yeah, I can see
trying
that.
to get them out, right?
Yeah.
So there was that, plus because that job's like a big circle that's all dishing to one drain. Technically, as you're coming down like that, things are going to get tighter, and to keep the line straight, you got to have a bit of play.
Yeah.
So, that was Jordan's call to do that, but I think it was smart, in my opinion.
Does it sound hollow when you walk on the patio?
It doesn't and that patio's some of it's 3 layers of foam and then a half-inch of HPB.
Oh.
Trying to lighten the load on the slab. So it's 3 layers of foam, then a half a thing of HPB. So a half-inch of HPB. So that's a pretty good. It's an interesting job. We've done a lot of interesting jobs this year so far. We did a balcony. We did a permanent government legacy building. And now we're doing the golf club, which is all interesting. I did get called to a big pothole meeting though, so
Pothole meeting.
I got invited to a meeting to go look at a bunch of potholes.
Nice.
Me and a couple other people got invited to this pothole meeting. So the thing I find interesting about it is I've already priced the potholes. But they just asked, I had to go around and find them all. And anyways, so this is I think a more formal bidding process. So
You gotta squeeze you for your pothole price.
I looked up the contractor because they didn't do a blind CC when they sent the invite. So one of the contractors I looked up, and it said, this contractor out of business. And it was some Homestars review. I thought, oh, well, that's maybe a good sign and I'm fairly confident. I know who the other contractor is. I'm fairly confident that they're not showing up for potholes. So I was like, maybe I'll be the only person. And then we can just go back to my original quote. Just say, hey, can I just send this back to you? Quoting this PO number or something. So I've never heard of the other contractor. So, and surprisingly, all this pothole work, none of the people that were on the list that I saw were asphalt contractors that I know of. Like, I guess our name might have got us on this list.
For Paver King.
Paver King. People think maybe we will become. I don't like hot asphalt.
No.
I don't like the smell of it. I don't like
that it takes 10 people to do it.
It does take a lot of people.
Bunch of equipment all the time. Those asphalt guys, you know when they're around because they've got 5 trucks parked on the road and traffic signs out, and they make a circus of it.
It is a lot for each one driveway, right?
Yeah.
They so I guess maybe that's how we got on the list. But I'm happy to go. I'm always happy to look at another job that will take 6 to 8 months to process, and then maybe we'll do some. Oh no, I think there was actually a timeline on this as to when it had to be finished. I'm pretty sure there was a timeline as well. So that's pretty good. I think it had to be finished by August 16th. So what's the bidding process then?
That's a
That
month
must
today.
that must be a pretty fast bidding process. I don't know if I could finish this job by August 16th. Fuck. I guess we'll just price it and find out what's. I guess they'll need a quick turnaround.
Hmm.
It won't be a long bidding process. We had a callback to rebid one job. We had another job too where Jack priced it, and so this company has like a bonding limit. Like, what's your bond? Like if it's under 250,000, they don't require a bond or whatever. So the job started out there, and then they added some huge retaining wall, and then they added a bunch of bollards, then they added a bunch of fencing that has nothing to do with us. The retaining wall I would do, but then the job ended up like, cresting $1 million, and now they want a bond. But we can't get bonded. So I'm like,
Why can't you get bonded?
well, mostly because of the debacle with our finances over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And although that situation is cleaning itself up every day we're battling towards getting out of the insanity that I put us in. We're still not bondable. So I'm like, can we go back to just doing this job for like way less than the bonding level and just, I don't care about this other stuff. Like, I just want to do the original job. I don't give a fuck about bollards or fencing that has nothing to do with me. Like, I don't even want to do those things. So like, that's fucking up me getting a good job of spreading soil and planting plants and doing stuff we want, because you chose to tell me that putting in barbed wire fencing was part of the landscaping contract. Like, I don't know, and putting it, there's a bunch of these bollards that have to go in. They're claiming it's part of the landscaping scope. The bollards are inside the building. Like, there's 36 of these bollards in the fucking building. Landscaping scope. You know what that's called? We can't find anyone else to do it, so you're doing it. That's what that's fucking called in commercial contracting. And if you want the rest of the work, except now I can't get the rest of the work because of this idiotic bollard shit.
Yeah.
By the time you dig a 14-inch hole 5 feet deep, put a sonotube in it, put a wire cage in it, because it has to be rebar tied with those tubular, the round rebar cages with the rebar running down. Buy the bollard, buy the concrete, and pay for the labor. These bollards are worth upward of like, I don't know, probably $2,200, something like that. $2,000. So there's like $70K worth of idiotic bollards that I don't want anything to do with.
Inside the building.
Inside the building. And I have no idea if we'd even make fucking money on them. And those are fucking up me getting the work I do want because it's putting me over the bonding limit. I'm like, welcome to 2024. Hey, this is a great number on this job. Add all this other idiotic stuff, and then we're going to repetitively tell you that, oh, you can't. Well, if you can't bond it, how about you just take out the shitty stuff that we don't want to do? Call a bollard guy. Is it not bollard guys?
Why
couldn't you package the bollards with the fencing? It's kind of the same shit. Drilling holes, pouring footings. Like, I don't think it's that bizarre to make the. I don't think it's that off base to say to the fencing guy, you're responsible for these bollards, and then make that a separate contract.
Yeah, you're right. That's exactly how it should
The
go.
problem is they don't want to make vendors, right? Every GC is trying to cut down on the amount of vendors they have on every job. So if you can package idiotic shit like bollards that should be done by someone other than the landscaper, and the 10-foot barbed wire fence that has nothing to do with the fucking landscaper, and some sound barrier that has nothing to do with the landscaper, if you can package that in the landscaping, you're only dealing with the landscaper. You're not dealing with 4 other fucking contractors. Which I think is probably for the best.
Well,
I don't know.
There's only so many big companies that can do that, though, right?
But oh well, yeah. Like
So you're
I'm
you're limiting your contractor base.
you are limiting your contractor pool. Obviously, out limiting us out of the fucking work.
Yeah.
The work we did want, part of it that we did want. It just whatever. I know. I find it. It's been that's been the way it's gone the whole year. Just people asking idiotic shit. That did any Mike? Is this the fake 200th episode?
It could be, but
If
Like,
it's fake, it doesn't matter.
yeah,
course it is. It's
any
the
day
fake
could be
one.
our fake 200.
How many episodes is it to the real 200th episode?
I think 2 more weeks from now.
So should this episode be called fake 200th episode?
I think this is the Chad episode.
Well, don't worry about. I'll bow out to the fake 200
Okay.
episode.
No, I don't know. Well, that's why Chad's giving out advice on the fake 200th episode of make sure you finance all your residential clients' projects.
I've
So
made it this far.
But if the job is 15,000 and you're financing it, what's your hope for total return?
See, I asked you guys this before you jumped down my throat about it. If we could maybe come to a solution together to make this work for me. Because I don't know.
So what terms being real, like what terms are you comfortable with for repayment of the essentially $8,000?
$1,000 a month is fine.
So $1,000 a month for 8 months.
Yeah.
So that would get you back your $8,000.
Yeah.
But what are you looking to make off lending out that $8,000? Like $100 a month, so you would get back 88. So you want $1,100 a month payment?
That's not enough. No.
But I think that's what a short-term interest rate would bring you. Maybe $100 a month on 8,000.
Yeah, that's fine, but I'm also not a bank, right?
It's 10%.
If you could do this with the bank, you would do it with the bank. You wouldn't do it with the landscaper.
Yeah, so you need a 24% interest rate, like money.
I need a $2,000
well,
money on this fucking job.
Okay, so say you're lending out 8,000. Well, let's say you're lending out 10,000 because my brain doesn't work good with math.
Yeah.
So let's say you're lending out 10,000. You want 1,000 a month back. You're saying you would take a $1,240 a month payment with $240 of it being interest, so that at the end of it you would pocket $2,400.
Yeah.
On top of the profit you made on the other thing.
On top of the profit. Yeah.
You're looking at like I don't understand compound interest enough to
me either. Like
openly talk about it on a podcast, but you want to be the money mart of landscaping.
But why shouldn't you be?
Money market.
Because there's no reason to come at your landscaper with this proposition. You should be going to a bank.
Yeah,
so if someone do it, make it worth my while.
You're a loan shark.
Well, yeah. So what?
Well, I'm not saying it's bad.
It's not a necessity.
People that do it as a job. People do loan sharking like as for all their income. That's all they do for a living is loan sharking.
Yeah. It's
And you're right. Like, what's the cost? Say the cost to lean a house. Let's say it's $1,000.
Yeah.
So really, you need to recoup that as well. So you're looking at $1,350 a month, $100 for the lien for the $1,000, and $250 for the 25% or whatever. So I think that to be fair, if they want to finance $10,000 with you, the repayment term should be $1,350 a month, which is the payment on a shitty Mercedes.
Yeah.
Right.
And my warranty is better.
9 years. Non-transferable.
I'm not saying by any means that they have to take this non-existent deal that I have, right?
I think I would do that deal.
If
the $350 a month with me having a lien on the house.
Yeah, like if you think you can get a better rate from the bank, go to the bank. What do I care? I completely don't care. I just want money in the end.
Yeah, but I think it's a great business transaction if you're getting the $350 a month and you tell them in advance you're gonna lien the property till it's paid off.
Yeah. You're open with them. The
Yeah.
only way they can be offended about that is if they plan never to pay you.
Yep.
You know? What do you mean?
Yeah, I would just write it if we were planning on bringing this as the new wave of guru advice, then I would say you need to write it into your contracts before they sign that there will be a lien on the property once the project's completed.
How much does a lien cost?
That's what we were saying, probably
Yeah.
$1,000.
Oh, okay.
So that's why we went from $250 to $350 a month
Yeah.
to pay, because you're not paying the lien cost. The person who's causing the lien should pay. I'm not saying they're causing the lien in a bad way either. I'm just saying they're the ones causing the lien.
Yeah.
Can debate whether it's a good way or a bad way, but they're definitely the ones causing the lien. So you would, yeah. So I think if you could on $10,000 paid back over 10 months, if you can make $350 a month, you're doing pretty good. Minus the lien, you're making $250 a month. That's probably a good use of your money. Better than buying
Better than-
Chinese skid steers. We already worked that out.
If your insurance company listens to this podcast like PK's insurance company does, they're going to come after you for being a bank, operating as a bank,
Yeah.
and want you to be paying them as
Or the cops might come after you as operating as a loan shark.
Is
What's
it
the
illegal to do this? Like,
I have no idea if it's illegal.
business.
I don't.
think
You would have
people
to have
do this
some
all the
sort of
time.
insurance to be able to do it.
Why? What's the insurance? I'm out my own money and I'm not coming after anybody for it.
If
private
you
lending
were
is
just doing
illegal.
that, but if you were doing, like this would be private lending, right?
The
It's
private
not
lending.
like I did the job and I'm gonna let them pay at a later date. It's I did a job and I'm giving them a finance plan to pay off the job. There's
Yeah, I
gotta
don't-
be insurance.
Well,
involved.
Well, have you ever been forced into a payment plan with a client? Have you ever done the job and then they say, oh, we can't pay this all? And then they give you little bit by little bit until the job is
No.
paid off? Because I have.
That's
Oh,
never
really?
happened.
I've been forced in, like, we were expected to be paid in full. Oh, I can't afford that. So I'm going to have to give you $300 a month until it's paid off.
No way.
Yeah.
Who said that to you?
Like 2 fucking years for this guy to pay me off.
Why would he get the work done if he couldn't?
I don't know. But what do? Do you scream and yell at the guy and rattle the cage until he
So he
refuses
owed you
to do
$7
anything?
grand.
Yeah. Well, no, I think it was about six grand. Like $300 a month for 2 years.
Did he owe you the whole job, or did he make a significant payment before?
No,
he
it was the labor cost by the end of it.
So
Like,
when
the
you
material-
completed the job and went for money, he just
Yeah.
outright said, "I don't have any money."
Yeah, I don't have any. They won't give me more money on my line of credit like they said they would.
Did you lien the property then?
No.
Ooh.
But I was fairly new in business too, right? This
Yeah,
was probably year 3 or whatever.
Did he pay you for the whole job?
Yeah, I got paid for the whole job.
Was he good for the money?
Yeah.
Did you have to go and pick it up every month?
No, he would bring it out to me on my jobs.
That's not bad.
Where,
That's the guy that was taking responsibility for his actions.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
Respect
it was
that.
also unethical, right?
Yeah.
Well,
You get
where
the
do you?
work done, not knowing 100% that you could pay for it.
Yeah, I think he was morally obligated to pay you for the work that you completed that he agreed to.
Yeah. So
So did you ever have to call him, remind him, or he'd call you and be like, "Where you at, Chad? I'm bringing money."
I don't think I ever had to call him. It wouldn't always be on the same day, but it would be in the same first week
Week.
of the month or something.
Yeah,
like
first
that.
week of the month. Was he still enjoying his patio?
Yeah, I drive by and see him sitting out there.
Still to this day?
And what's
Still
that?
to this day? You drive
Yep.
by and see him out there?
Yeah.
Do you wave at him and say, "Remember that time you fucked me, bro"?
No, he's a nice guy, but that's
If he called you up, would you do another patio for him?
no.
Now that you have the new finance plan?
Not that I have the new finance plan. He doesn't know the rates. Ugh. The rates
What were
aren't
the-
the same as they were 9
What were
years
the
ago.
what were the rates 9 years ago? 0?
0%.
Yeah.
If he
No,
called
How
you up
much-
for a warranty issue, would you do it for him?
it's past now. It's been so long. And everything looks good. It's a flagstone patio with a big armor stone thing around the front and everything. So I think we're safe on that
Does he
one.
wave at you when you drive by?
Yeah. Yeah, like I say, he's a nice guy. It's just he did me dirty with that.
Yeah.
How much labor was in it that was yours and like your personal labor back then? Was it all you? Like you're working alone, or
A
like
third of the labor was mine.
so there was three of you.
Yeah.
Are any of the guys still working for you now?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Scott's still with me. And Juju comes back every 5 years for a bit. It seems.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hmm.
He's due to come back again. Juju.
He's ready for a comeback?
He's ready for a comeback. Yeah. He goes to the distribution centers for a while. And then come back.
The distribution.
Him and
What?
Brandini.
When do you
Yeah.
think you're too old for a 5-year comeback in landscaping? That you just
I
you wake up and you're like, man, I want to go back to landscaping, but I also like climate control in the distribution center.
don't
Like
know.
35?
No, I think there's always potential to fall back into landscaping. We
Landscaping, chock full of potential.
yeah, that's it. We had movers today at my place.
How is that?
Good. They all look rougher than landscapers. I'll tell you that for sure. Like I thought I looked rough. These guys were fucking rough. Like they,
Every landscaper is one meth den away from becoming a mover.
yeah, the fringes of society. These guys. Like,
They have the
but they were
fringes.
pleasant and nice and easy to work with, agreeable. You know.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, they were real good.
I'm always amazed at like we used to work in this neighborhood where there were townhouses, and this lone guy would show up and unload a fridge on his back and carry it up 3 flights of stairs and put it in these stacked townhouses. And he would do it all day for every unit. I'm like, man, I don't know how much that guy gets paid, but I can tell you confidently it's not enough. He is undervalued
Yeah, you couldn't pay me.
because I really don't think there's many people that can do that by themselves.
Yeah.
I don't even think legally you can hire someone to do that. I mean, you can hire
No.
anybody, but like you can't employ someone to do that job for you on their own.
Yeah.
I have a
Moving fridges by themselves.
great story this week of an injury that happened.
Not your
So-
truck driver
Did
again.
Bill try and lift the packer again?
No, it's not. So one of the guys, well, Bill was using the Grabo, and you know how they go, and you start lifting, and then eventually they'll go psst, because they've got a vacuum seal, and then if the vacuum seal starts to slip, they'll go right.
Yeah.
So Bill wanted to save battery, so as it was going, he was lifting it up to adjust the HPB under a 4x2 porcelain tile, that's a big porcelain tile. It's heavy. So he's like, and he was like, oh, this buzzing. It's using too much battery. So he shut the Grabo off while his fingers were under it. And then the Grabo let go and his fingers got crushed. But when he called me, he was like, yeah. I was like, how are you okay? How are your fingers? Just Jose called Jordan. Jordan called me. Because obviously Bill's fingers, I guess, were fucked for dialing. And eventually later in the day, I talked to Bill and he's like, yeah, I just thought I'd save the battery, so I shut it off. So I'm like, so the Grabo didn't actually fail because, you start to hear the story. They're like, oh, the Grabo failed. The Grabo failed. I'm like, okay. So the Grabo didn't actually fail. You fucking shut it off.
On your hand.
You physically shut the fucking Grabo off. Like that's so. Anyways, I just thought it was funny that this thing was supposed to it failed. Well, I don't. Then I thought to myself, in the end, because owning a business, everything always comes back that it's your fault, right?
Mhm.
Like anything that happens at the business, I've been explaining that to Dawn. Anything that happens is my fault. I'm in care and control of the business. So no matter what it is, it's 100% my fault that it happened. And then I need to figure out what the system is to stop that from happening again. Because it shouldn't have happened in the first place. I should have anticipated it and I should have stopped it from happening. So I'm like, I think we should have had like a brief lesson on the gravels before we started using them. Like, don't shut them off in use. But, you know, to me, who understands how the gravel works completely, because I've, you know, was immersed when that first stuff came out. It seems simple to not shut it off when you're using it. But to someone who doesn't have the same level of vacuum technology experience, they might think once it's stuck like a suction cup. And you shut it off and it'll keep holding. I was like, this is definitely a failure on my part to not have proper training on our equipment. And, you know, it makes you think, if someone can get hurt with a grabo, how fucking hurt can they get with an 8-ton excavator or a dump truck or a fucking, like, all the other shit we have? Because the gravel is one of the least offensive things we own. It's a fucking grabo. So,
Yeah.
Anyways, I just thought it was interesting that it's really my fault for not training someone properly in the end. That's my take on it, unless you guys have a different one.
I understand that train of thought, but I don't think it's your fault. Like,
Do you not think it's dangerous though, if you own the business, to start thinking things aren't your fault? That you're not in care and control of your own business?
yeah,
As the head of the snake?
I understand you're going to get blamed for everything, right? So you have to take that ownership, no matter what.
Do you think the difference between success and failure is whether or not you take that ownership?
That's some guru.
I don't take ownership for everything we do at the company, both good and bad. My guys did a phenomenal job on most of the jobs we do, and I don't take ownership for it. I take the check for it.
Well, you're not an architect.
I'm not an architect.
It's not your job.
Not an architect. No, but I guess it goes both ways. My guys have never misused a gravel.
Yeah, but they've misused something at some point where you could have potentially trained them better. Doesn't have to even result in injury. It could result in, well, someone didn't brace the roller packer properly and the carb got smashed.
Yeah.
Is that your fault for not teaching proper chaining down and bracing techniques, or is it the fault of the person who did it?
I don't know. Like, whenever you hire these guys, do you not expect them to come to the job prepared every morning with their work boots and their safety vest and their hard hat and their fucking brain?
No.
You know, like, are you just hiring them for their body and never their brain? Or what? Like,
if we hire someone right off the hop, then I try to keep my expectations low until they get used to our systems and how we do things.
Yeah. But
the last couple of people we hired have been like, wow, you're so technologically advanced.
Wow.
But that's because we're using that app that tells everyone when their shift is, they clock in and out on it. Like, so they're like, oh, you guys are the most technologically advanced landscape. I'm like, this isn't really technical, logical stuff. This is a app that spits the schedule out to everybody. I can, put in the different things they do. And so but to a lot of them, it's a huge technological advancement to not have to fill out a time card. We use the app and so the app, I guess, tracks, or I don't know if we have to enter their addresses in it, or I don't know what, but if they get home and they haven't checked out or they haven't clocked out, the app reminds them to clock out when they get home.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It can, I guess, sense that they're returning to the same place or whatever, which is actually kind of freaky when you think about it, but also kind of cool.
Yeah.
We did get the new dump truck this week.
It was a beauty. What a beautiful truck.
It has garnered some warranted attention, I think.
Yeah, I bet. How does it
It
drive?
has. I drove it around the block because it's so new that when you we had the mobile tinting guy come and tint it on the weekend, and it's so new that when you close the doors, the rubber is so thick that first of all it seals the compartment so tight the vacuum pushes the doors open, and sometimes so if you don't slam, what we learned, because the tint dude needed the key for it, right? So he left the key in it. And the doors weren't closed. Like he obviously tried to close the doors, but I'm sure he didn't want to fucking slam them. And the truck had been sitting for a year before we bought it. And then it went to the paint shop and sat, and then it sat at the dealership. So it hadn't really been driven very much in the last 10 or 12 months. So when I came in on Sunday to put it away after the guy had tinted it, because I pulled it out of the line of trucks and put it by itself in the field, and the batteries were dead and it wouldn't start. And I looked across at the old truck that had started immediately when I moved it out of the spot. And I was like, sick. Now I have a $300,000 truck and it still isn't workable. And that's when I concluded the trucking game is a hard game.
Yeah.
Even for $293,000, the battery still dies.
Yeah.
Batteries still die. Yeah, I drove it around the block. It's a little bit of a unique driving experience because it's an axle forward truck with a huge hood. It's vastly different than the other trucks we have, but it was nice. It drove nice. Christy seems to like it, which is the most important thing. And I think we're going to order pink underglow rock lights for it. So when we haul snow and stuff at night, it all glows. I think it's a pretty cool truck. I'm pretty happy with it. I think it's pretty rare. I don't think there's very many W990 dump trucks. So I think it'll always stand out. It'll always be different than everybody else's trucks. So, I had debated whether or not it was worth the $3,700 to paint it black because it was blue and we could have saved the $3,700. And the whole time we were waiting for it to be painted, I was like, oh, is this really worth it? But then when you see it all black with the pink stickers on it, I was like, that was 1,000 times worth the $3,700.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was 100% worth it. So I think it was a good choice to paint it. And Christy's super happy and I'm happy because in theory we should have a reliable truck that can go out to work every day. And the international we have is a 2022. So it's pretty reliable still. It's still a good truck. Even the old one is still a good truck. It needs someone to love it personally. Being part of a fleet is challenging for us because we don't have an on-staff mechanic. And I was talking to one of the brokers in the yard today because he was dropping off his paperwork 4 days late, which is perfect for invoicing. And he was saying about keeping it, and I said, bro, like I don't have I don't have a lot of time to wrench on this thing.
Yeah.
Like next week, potentially we could have a job in Toronto going, a job in Mississauga going, and a job in Port Hope going. And then we also have a bin division and a triaxle trucking division going on as well. So I think I'm spread a bit too thin already in my mind than to start. I also not mechanically inclined and would completely fuck things up and people would probably die. So there's that factor as well. But I don't think we're set up to, I don't think I'm set up to be wrenching on things. I think I'm set up to have 2 newer trucks that run every day and have things like tires and brakes they need and oil changes and not things like steering boxes that cost $7,000. I think that's more for that division of the company, the Traxel division, that's more because when those trucks don't go out, it causes havoc. Because if we have a big truck, like we have a trucking job where we have 7, like not lately because it rains every fucking day, but we have a trucking job where there's like 6 or 7 trucks running. I always put Christy there because she'll manage the trucks and she'll bring home all the paperwork every night. But when our truck is sitting in the yard not working, the other ones are out there. And not that I mean, some of these brokers like Tony have been with us a long time. And Naz. Tony and Naz and Wazir have been with us a really long time. So, I mean, they're watching what's going on too. But it's just better if our truck's there to sort of lead. So now you can be confident that our truck will be there, which is good.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's worth $300,000 to sleep better, but it seems like I'll sleep better knowing that the truck's ready to work.
It's not always going to be worth 300 grand, right? Like at the end of it, you get some of that back.
Oh yeah. At the end of it, we'll recoup.
You'll recoup and
hopefully it being what it is, it being rare might hold its value. Maybe it doesn't because of what it is. I don't know. Whenever you buy something unique, you risk it. If you buy a unique item, the risk is it unique and because it's unique, it's going to hold its value better? Or is it unique and no one's going to fucking want it? Like a Ford Pinto or an AMC Gremlin. Did I buy the Gremlin of dump trucks? I don't know.
We've got a long nose truck like that in town, but it's a tandem.
Oh wow, that must look wild.
It used to be a triaxle, right? But when Swift came in, they pulled the axle, and now it's just a wicked long tandem. So,
yeah, it probably tears it like 15 ton.
Yeah.
Something like, well, it's heavy, so it might even tear less, right? Because it's a big long nose truck.
Yeah.
Chris, so one of the things when the trucks are new is you have to take them to MTO so they can measure it and give you your allowable tear sheet.
Mm-hmm.
So Christy took it to MTO this morning and drove it into MTO and there was no one there. She was pounding on the doors and this is like Dixon Road MTO. This is like one of the biggest MTO inspection stations in the province, if not the biggest inspection station in the province. And she's pounding on the door and phoning them and there's no one on the fucking property. Like, it's fucking Tuesday. Like, why is no one working here?
Wow. Well,
On a Tuesday, there's still no one at work.
That's wild.
And you're trying to have your truck inspected. I'm here trying to get you to inspect my truck. Can you please
try to avoid them?
Usually you're trying to avoid inspection, but today we were trying to get our truck inspected. The other thing that happened is there's no CB in the truck, which I asked them about when we were at the dealer and said, hey, can you guys just put a CB in when it was here? And they're like, oh no, you're going to save all this money if you just do it yourself. I'm like, yeah, but I just don't want the hassle. Like, I want it to just come to work when it's done. Like, let's just put it to work. And, so now I call him like, hey man, like, can we put a CB in the truck? Because I'm calling around. No one really does that. Like CB radios, it's like, who was that guy, Marconi or whatever, that sent the first wireless message across the sea? Well, like that was like 300 years ago. So people don't give a fuck about CB radios anymore. Finding someone that installs CB radios and knows about CB radios is quite challenging, to be honest. So, and now they're saying, well, we don't know if the truck was wired for it at the factory. And if it isn't, then it's really bad. I'm like, okay, but I have to have a radio in the truck or I can't pick up, like, Chrissy can't pick up the gravel pit. So this isn't like an optional thing. We need to work this out. So halfway through the day, I texted the guy. I was like, hey man, what's going on with this? Like, did you look at the options package? Is this spec for a radio? And then his response was, we're working on a quote. I'm like, that's not an answer to my question. Like, my question was, is this thing spec for a radio on the spec sheet? Because I just asked them to put a radio in. And then they did not ignore me. They did say a couple times that, anyways. So, whatever. I think that's 2 hours, Mike.
Yeah, I think so.
That's the end of the episode. Do we have outro music yet, Mike?
200th episode. Well,
200th episode, there'll be outro music. And then will there be music for starting our worst hour?
yeah.
Perfect.
There'll be no outro music for the first hour, though.
I think that's appropriate.
I think so.
Is there supposed to be outro music after every podcast?
Well, the fact that we kind of cut it off and it's a continuing conversation, but then we have intro music for the worst hour, so maybe we do need outro music for the first hour. I don't know.
Can you just use? Can you just
think?
Can you just use the intro music from the first hour as the outro music as well?
I don't like that. Personally.
Double play it.
Yeah. What do you guys think? I don't like that, but
Well, if you don't like it, you're really in control of this. I was just trying to save you some time because the chances of me and Chad building the outro music is almost zero.
No, I think the outro music definitely needs to be different than the intro music for sure. Maybe we could just play the music and not the voiceovers on it as the outro music. It's an option.
We could have someone with a cool voice read a couple reviews. That could
I'll
happen.
log into Andy's next Sunday live and I'll get him to say a bunch of things that I can use.
Perfect.
Andy, can you say welcome to our worst hour?
Andy, can you say that's it? This episode's over? Episode's over. Bye.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. Well, everyone listen for Andy Mulder. He'll be featured on the outro music. That's the end of the episode.